let's take a few steps back. Interesting. Why are security guarantees, a strong position of Ukraine, strong weapons, and so on so important? I will give you a little history lesson. Although I think you have prepared yourself and know everything perfectly, well, you can correct me on that. Yes, Ukraine had security guarantees. The Budapest Memorandum. Nuclear weapons are the security guarantees that Ukraine had. Ukraine had nuclear weapons. I do not want to characterize it as good or bad. Today, the fact that we do not have them is bad. Why? Because this is war. Today we are at war. Because you have unleashed the hands of a nuclear power. A nuclear power is fighting against us, against Ukraine, and doing what it wants. By the way, even you are now talking about ceasefire, just a ceasefire. Maybe give flowers to Putin, maybe to say, thank you so much for these years. That was a great part of my life. No, we are not just ready for this. Why? The Budapest Memorandum, nuclear weapons, this is what we had. Ukraine used them for protection. This does not mean that someone attacked us. That doesn't mean that we would have used it. We had that opportunity. These were our security guarantees. Why am I talking about this in detail? Because if you take the Budapest Memorandum, by the way, I discussed this with President Trump. We have not finished this conversation yet. We will continue it. Regarding the Budapest Memorandum, the Budapest Memorandum included security guarantees for Ukraine. At first, three. The most important security guarantors for Ukraine. 3 strategic friends and partners of Ukraine. This was in agreement. United States of America, Russia, Britain, France, and China joined. There were 5 states that these are not even security guarantees. We now understand that this is not a guarantee of security because on the one hand, these are security guarantees, but there was an English word, as far as I understand, assurance. It is translated as assurance, right? And in Russian, it will be, and what? Assurance. That is, give up nuclear weapons because you were under pressure of the US and Russia for Ukraine to give them up. These 2 powers were exerting pressure. These 2 states negotiated to ensure that Ukraine does not have nuclear weapons. Ukraine agreed. These are the largest states. This is the nuclear 5 that does not even provide security guarantees. Now we just need to find these people and we just need to put in jail all of those who, frankly, invented all this. So confidence, assurance. Assurance that Ukraine will be territorially integral with its sovereignty. It was a piece of paper, if you are curious, by the way, that after occupying part of our Donbas and Crimea, Ukraine sent diplomats 3 times. I don't think I remember, 3 times within a few years. We sent letters to all security guarantors, to all members of the Budapest Memorandum. What did they send? That what was written on the piece of paper. Consultations. Ukraine holds consultations if its territorial integrity is violated. And everyone should be in consultation. Everyone must come. Everyone must meet urgently. USA, Britain, Russia, France, China. Did anyone come, you ask? No. Did anyone reply to these letters, official letters? They are all recorded by diplomats. Did anyone conduct consultations? No. And why not? They didn't give a fuck. This is understandable in Russian, right? That as Russia didn't give a damn, neither did all the other security guarantors of the Budapest Memorandum. None of them gave a damn about this country, these people, these security guarantees, etc. We take a break. This will be a Budapest Memorandum. The last time with me, imagine how many years it was with me, in February 2022. In February 2022, the war began. A full-scale war. Letters for consultations have been sent. No one answers. Next, we are taking a break from the Budapest Memorandum. The question is simple about Budapest. Can we trust this? No. Whichever country out of these five sat at the negotiating table, just a piece of paper. Believe me, we will save you. No. Another. This is a train. This is a train with waste paper, with security guarantees, which Ukraine has been riding for many years. The second car on this train is the Minsk Agreements, the Normandy format and the Minsk Agreements, where it was written, where the signatories were. The United States of America was no longer there. I understand that Obama was here at the time. And as far as I know, I think they were simply not interested in what happened to Ukraine and where it was in general, where it was located. Well, somewhere there. Part of something. People, and let it be. Let it be with these people. The United States simply did not participate in the Minsk Agreements. There are no claims to the US because they were not guarantors. Where is the claim? A step back. 2008, Bucharest. Everyone has already learned from the Budapest Memorandum. Bucharest, 2008, Bucharest. Mr. Bush, President of the United States, Republican, says that Ukraine should be in NATO. This is the voice of Republicans. Check it out. Ukraine should be in NATO. Everybody's looking at the US, always, all in favor. Who is against? Merkel. So she opposes, and she forced everyone not to give Ukraine an invitation to join NATO because that would be a step. Seriously, Republicans were in favor. The US was in favor because Republicans and Bush were not afraid of anyone. They were not afraid of anyone, and they knew that Ukraine rightly wanted to join NATO. She chooses so. And what is the question? Well, people made their choice. Well, and the Russians will not look that way. That was not the case then. Why? Because the Russians were different. Next, Minsk. We didn't succeed. After the Minsk Agreements, as I told you, hundreds of meetings were held. I have had hundreds of meetings since 2019. We could not think about a ceasefire. A ceasefire is our offer. This is not somebody's suggestion. This is mine. I wanted to. In Ukraine, society was divided. Not everyone wanted to. Half did not want to. Half were against. Half were in favor. Some of them shouted, "Do not believe it." Some of them shouted, "Believe it." I am the president of Ukraine. I was given a mandate of trust by 70% of the population to take appropriate steps, and I made them. This is not a joke. We'll just sit the three of us. I am simply telling you what is. This is, how can I tell you? These meetings must be serious and prepared. And prepared with those who want peace. Ukraine wants peace. US wants peace. We have to sit down with Trump, and that is 100%. First and foremost, number one. Moreover, he told me on the phone that he is waiting for us to meet, and there will be an official visit, and my visit would be the first or one of the first to him. And for him, this topic is very important. I know that he has his own matters, American issues, I understand. I heard his election program, but regarding international affairs, I think our issue is one of the most pressing issues for President Trump. Therefore, I believe very much, I trust his words, and I hope we will meet again. We need to prepare. We have many plans to build on, and they exist, and they are supported by many countries. But we need his vision. He needs to look at all these details, but his vision, please, because he can stop Putin, because Putin is afraid of him. That's a fact. But Trump is a president of a democratic country, and he does not come for life. He is not Putin. He will not come for 25 years. He will come for his term. Please tell me. Well, for example, he came for 4 years, and for the 5th year, Putin came with a war. Will it make Trump feel better that there was no war during his time and that Ukraine was destroyed after him? Why destroyed? Putin is whoever, a killer whoever, but not a fool. He will be prepared. He knows all mistakes. He understands how we defeated his army after the invasion began. He realized that this was not a Soviet war and that this would not happen with us. He will prepare. He will let everything into arms production. He will have lots of weapons, and there will be a very large army. And you think that after such humiliation, 4 years without a war, he did not finish us. He will return and fight only against Ukraine. He will destroy everything around. And if you say there is a risk that President Trump, will withdraw from NATO, for example, this is a decision of the United States. I'm simply saying that if it does, Putin will destroy Europe. Calculate the size of army in Europe. It's just that I say it for a reason. Do the calculation. Why did Hitler conquer all of Europe then? Almost. Just count, remember, his armies of millions. Calculate what Europe has. What are the largest armies? We have the largest army. The Ukrainian army is the largest in Europe. The second place after us is 4 times smaller than us.
France.
Yes. 200,000? I think the French have about 200,000. We have 980.
So this powerful coalition of European nations.
That will not be enough.
Yes, it's not going to be enough, but you're a smart man. There's a lot of ideas. Partnerships with Global South, India, Middle East, Saudi Arabia, экономические partnerships, political partnerships. It all protects you.
First of all, look at one example. North Korea. Just look at this example. 12,000 has arrived. Today, 3,800 killed or wounded. They can bring more. 30, 40,000. Or maybe 500. They can bring many people. Why? Because they have order, autocracy, and everything. Can Europe bring people together? No. Will Europe be able to build an army consisting of 2 to 3 million people? No, Europe will not want to do this. And for what? We definitely don't want a world war with you. There is no such purpose. There is no such purpose as gathering everyone. We do not want any war. We want to stop the Russians. And they invite North Korean soldiers. Invited. Their faces are burned. They themselves burn their faces. Those who cannot escape, injured or killed. There's a video. Everything I'm telling you, there is evidence of this. So that they are not recognizable, right? It means, what does it mean? It's out of values which share Europe. Europe counts. It means that those guys, they don't count Rahuyut. It's count, yes? They don't count the number of people. That is the answer. Can they move more? Yes. Can they move dozens of thousands? Yes, because we see what they have. Last year, for example, Europe gave us 1 million artillery rounds. We produced a lot ourselves. But they gave us initiative. It was initiative. 1 million artillery rounds and of 155 and etc. We produce more. But North Korea gave Putin 3.7, just gave him. So he also has a deficit for today. It means he needs what? He needs time.
But the number of soldiers,
yes,
and the number of artillery rounds is not everything. As you have said, let's say Donald Trump guarantees security for 4 years. You can form partnerships with India, with Saudi Arabia, that enforce punishment, the stick, on oil prices, for example, if any aggressive action is taken. You can actually even build, I've met a lot of incredible Ukrainian tech people, IT people. You could build great companies that form partnerships with the United States, that form partnerships with China. And that is a big leverage against aggression of however many million artillery rounds. And that, a sheet of paper, you don't need a sheet of paper of protection.
That's you. Well, when you speak
in English,
yeah, you don't even need answers, because when you now were talking, you already answered on all the questions. The first one is that during this time, you need just cooperation, a lot of money for this military industry. In Ukraine or in Europe, with India, Saudi Arabia, Saudi, and the United States, you need a lot of money. So the question is where you will get it. So my answer was to Trump. I said, this is one of the security guarantees. Take 300 billions of frozen Russian assets. We will take it. Take money, what we need for our interior production, and we will buy all the weapons from the United States. We don't need gifts from the United States. It will be very good for your industry. For the United States, we will put money there, Russian money. Not Ukrainian, not European, Russian money, Russian assets. They have to pay for this. We will put it and we will make it. This is one of security guarantees? Yes, of course. Because this is a military guarantee, yes. But then the second you said that energy price and a lot of sanctions on products and the Russian shadow fleet and etc. That is the second answer we spoke about before. Yes, put more sanctions on them. More sanctions. It's okay. Not
okay.
To take off sanctions.
That's okay with you, but it's not going to be okay with the president of Russia.
Yes, but I'm not thinking how it will be very good for him. He's still a killer.
I understand, but unfortunately, the reality is that a compromise is needed in order to reach an agreement.
In your understanding, the fact that he is in jailed after all the murders, he is not in jailed assuming all the murders, and no one in the world is able to put him in his place, send him to prison. Do you think this is a small compromise?
This is not a small compromise.